The adult beverages are poor, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old.
It happened. It happened. It happened. The dark days are over. My youngest is potty trained.
No, that's amazing.
I cannot describe.
Yeah.
Can you recall what it was like when your last kid dropped a diaper when it was over? Can you remember that day, that moment?
It's just pure freedom. I would go out, celebrate, run around the block. It is amazing. It is a weight lifted off your shoulders. Oh my God. It's like life begins anew.
It's a mess lifted off of my hands. It's just like...
That's right.
God.
That's right. Congrats, man. That is big. That's big.
Gaming dads, it gets better. I promise you. Life is so good now. I can see clearly now. It's just what was so frustrating about him is that he was so ready. He knew exactly what was going on.
Right.
Because when it happened, it just flip of a switch. Like it's like Tuesday, not potty trained. Wednesday, completely potty trained. Not a single accident since.
Right. Yep.
And he kept saying, he's like, no, do you want to go on the toilet? He's like, no, not yet. Only when I'm big. I'm like, you're plenty big. I don't want to clean up anymore. Come on. So, it's just, yeah. Oh, this household is so good now. Life is so much better.
It'd be funny if he just he just kind of waited. He's like, you know what? I kind of just like just laying around, and getting changed. It's all good. I'm not going to do that today.
He did, man. That's what I'm telling you. That's what was so awful about it. And this is at the end, my oldest now being coming up on 6. So it's almost like 6 years of me changing diapers, basically.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And it's still going. And every day, here's this smart, savvy little kid who's just refusing of his own volition to do this. So, we'll move on. But like, man, gaming dads, it gets better.
Leveled up. Love it.
Oh, sorry. Actually, the only small thing I'll mention is that I was very close to doing your method. Although if you could remind me of it again. So it's something about like the diaper bunny when you just like flip a switch on your kid. What happened with that exactly?
I'm trying to remember now because the details are so far.
It was so far. It was something, as I recall it, there was a photo where you had pointed out the window to your kid, your youngest, when he wasn't changing. And you're like, okay, well, the diaper bunny's come and he's taken all the diapers, so we're done now.
Right, exactly. So, you put fear into them.
Of a bunny coming into the room.
The bunny's come in, it's taken all the diapers. There's no more diapers. Now it's on you. Like, you have to... You're older now. It's your responsibility now. Mommy and daddy aren't changing you. The diaper bunny has come. This is it. You're in the clear. And it worked. I don't know. Like, it was just like one of those things where, again, like you were saying, like just like a switch. Just, okay, I'll do it now. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Because I was going to pull that trigger, but then it's the winter time.
Oh.
Which means it would have all been inside. So it was like, no.
It won't happen.
But, yeah. So, but speaking of stepping in it.
Oh, jeez.
This is almost like kind of an unfortunate thing to discuss, but it's so pertinent, I think, to dads and raising kids that, hard not to avoid. So the BeanDad controversy, I think,
yes.
Most folks are familiar with. If you're not a Seattle-based musician of some notoriety, well liked for his music, put out a series of tweets and got the absolute ire of the internet, the full force of the internet thrown against him for what he had done.
Yeah. He was trending for quite a while off this as BeanDad.
Yeah, so you would log into Twitter as a father and all of a sudden just see hashtag BeanDad and it's BeanDad, and it's like, what on earth is this about?
Speaks to me, right? As a dad, it speaks to me. What's going on?
So to talk about the first one, it's like, so yesterday my daughter was hungry and I was doing a jigsaw puzzle, so I said over my shoulder, make some baked beans. she said, how? Like all kids do when they want you to do it. So I said, open a can and put it in a pot. She brought me the can and said, open it how? With a can opener, I said, incredulous. And he goes on. And the impetus of the story is that he is trying to teach the daughter a lesson in inquisitiveness and self-sufficiency. Like, figure it out. Like, okay, what's the next step? What do you think would happen next? He's trying to lead the daughter through. A part of it would be, according to the tweet thread, was that it lasted for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Where he had said as well, like, we're not going to eat until you get us these beans. And the kid was just absolutely failing. And that really seemed to be some of the key parts that people were rallying against. So what was kind of going through your head when you were reading this as a dad and seeing these tweets go across?
Well, I was disappointed that this person just thought this was like they were kind of taking pride in the teachable moment that they were trying to put across to their daughter. And I know we can chat about it, but it's just when your kid comes to you and asks for help, you want to help them, right? And I get that some things, like if they're coming to you for help because they're putting in no effort and they just want you to do it, I get it. You need to let them struggle a little bit and get over it. This was just something that was just completely foreign to this kid. Didn't work a can opener before, hadn't been taught or shown from the tweets how this works. So it's kind of like that monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. That's how kids learn. They see you do it and then they'll do it themselves. And having toddlers, they do a lot of things even before you think that they can do it. Like they just keep it. They're little sponges, right? So that's where my thought was coming in, where it was kind of hanging hunger over as a motivator, which is not a very good technique. It kind of it creates this odd, like, you shouldn't really hold like something that's so basic over them. Like if it's more about like they're struggling with a toy and they don't know how to build a Lego set or something, that is, I can see happen. But with food, I was like, I'm not so sure about this. So it kind of let, lack for a better word, a bad taste in my mouth. With this, you should have cracked some dad jokes to lighten it up, right? Like, yeah. But it was just something that was like he took really pride, like a lot of pride in his daughter's tears and figuring it out, and like she would stomp away, and like 6 hours later, finally like got it. Like, I don't know, man. Like that's a lot for food.
I think that for me is where it's. I like in some ways, I honestly do like the concept of it around discovery and inquisitiveness, because I'll say that like a can opener is not intuitive, right?
No,
like,
no.
And that whole system is very antiquated and not very very obvious, right? So maybe not the best thing to hang your hat on, but the general concept, as far as it's a problem, you need to demonstrate some stick-to-itiveness and figure it out. Like try something. Okay, that didn't work. Try something else. Okay, tried something else. You can certainly go for help, but it would be good if you found some self-sufficiency and some curiosity around how you can try to solve it. So there's parts of it I definitely agree with. I think where it does fall apart a bit for me, though, is if it was, it kind of depends how literal it was. Because if it's an internet type conversation, it's like they were there for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Like, do you mean 20 minutes? Or do you mean 6 hours?
6 hours in kid time. Yeah. It's like 6 hours. Oh my God.
So that's where it would kind of get for me, because if it was like over the course of maybe like less than an hour, okay, it becomes a teachable moment. That's kind of interesting. I think certainly the pride at which he kind of took in it was a bit off-putting. The willingness to share about it and like crow about it was kind of off. And I think at some point too, you cut it off at some point, especially something so unintuitive, and then show them for the first time. Okay, here's how you do it. Now you do it.
Yeah.
So you can learn it. You can move on. Because
practice on this other can, right? Like
as our kids before, like kids way back in the day, it's like you didn't just throw them in front of an elephant and say, all right, good luck. It's like you were shown tricks and techniques and how to get it done, right? So I suppose I was a little bit surprised by the backlash, because I agreed with some of it, the concepts of it, perhaps the execution and public, brow or chest beating was a bit off. If that kind of sits okay for you.
Yeah, I think it would just teach this kid to go to YouTube first. To be
That's
honest,
not a bad skill.
no, and it's not. But like, you don't want. I don't know. You don't want the distrust on like, oh God, if I ask you, it's going to take 8 hours for me to get something out of you. But
Also a good point. To kind of like the trust and like the what type of relationship are we building?
yeah.
Because I think there would be. I mean, we're teaching right now our kid to handwrite. And
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it's part of his schooling, and now because of the current pandemic, like we are homeschooling, or he's online with teachers. But part of it is that they're teaching him to write, and so we're like trying to continue it because he's struggling with it, and
Yep.
he doesn't like us.
No,
Him how to write. What I mean? Like, so, but there it would be sort of where's your heart, and where does that kind of end up, and would he, in the way that we're doing it, is it going to lead to him distrusting and disliking us, as opposed to eventually appreciating that, like, oh, they're just trying to egg me on.
See, I have a similar experience, and I'll share that quickly. My dad used to sit down with me every night, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. Again, kid time. I don't remember. But he would
Drink
read
whiskey.
out of this. Yeah, he'd read out of this book to try and teach me to read. Like, he wanted to teach me to read before school did. So every night we sat in front of this thing. I hated it. I hated it with a passion, because every single night it was kind of like you were trained to expect it. You're like, oh God, like I gotta go sit with him and do this boring thing when I want to go and play with my toys. But I loathed it, hated it, and then I got progressively better, and it was getting easier, and I just would shrug it off and get it done. And then like maybe like years after, I was like, you know what? That was a really good way to kind of get me ahead of the game, because that's all he wanted to do, is he just wanted to push me ahead, right? And so I respect that he was putting in his own time. He must have been tired. After I know I'm tired at the end of the day, so to spend that time and kind of go over things that are very hard to learn from a concept stage, right? Like as a kid, it's just something that it could be a light switch, right? Where you don't get that concept until, one day it kind of just flicks on. But it's kind of like that, where it's just like, I respected him for it. Like, cause I wasn't necessarily hungry doing it or anything. Like it was boring for me. That's all it was. It was just part of my day, and it sucked, but it ended up being
So
a
what it
good
sounds like
moment.
I have to do is I need to sit down my son for 30 minutes a night and fire up Street Fighter.
That's right.
And you're gonna run him through some drills. Like, listen, you're never gonna be Capcom champion if we don't sit here.
That's
and
right.
play some Street.
Yeah.
Remember when I used to play Street Fighter a bit? That like those couple months.
Yeah.
Yay,
gotta
many years ago.
Get the esports. You got to get them going. Come on.
Gotta get those Twitch thumbs like rolling up already. So the problem with that would be that actually rolls in nicely to the next one, where it's the kids being graceful winners.
Yeah.
It's a perfect segue, because I want to talk to you about it, because my son continues to get progressively good at Smash Brothers.
That's good to hear. That's good.
Yeah. Except when he beats you. And then it's just like, no, thus far he hasn't like took the championship from me as far as like he's like won the match.
Okay.
Actually, no, that's not even true. I think he has.
Oh.
Because it's always like me and him versus like there'll be a couple other computer things on screen. Not to fault it. Again, like I'm a bad damn gamer. Okay, I'm not trying to defend myself that way. But it wasn't as in like a one-on-one. He clearly just like took me to class, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think there was a few times when he did win, though. End of the match shows like which person had the most skills, and it was him. Like he had taken it.
Right.
But when I'll watch him, and I'm surprised at how adept he's getting. As far as he's supposed to be falling off screen, but he's kind of learning to do like the double jump and then like the whatever attack that gets him up. His particular tactic, honestly, is just to get the support characters first.
Yes, they're annoying. Yes.
They're the worst. I can't stand them. But he gets every single one, and then he also gets the super all the time. And he does these things, and it really ruins your plans.
It's a strategy, I guess.
So the anyways, what I've noticed, and he's kind of a jerk when he wins.
Okay.
Right? He rubs it in a little bit, either to me or if like someone else is kind of playing. It's like, haha, I got you. Like, yeah. It's like, I'm the best. I win. It's starting to hit those notes. And had you experienced that with your son? And did you have a way to put into them the idea of being like a good winner, like a good sport? because it feels important to really nail home now. A, for my own sanity. I don't want to be laughed at every time I lose. But B, just from like a life perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to like address it as it comes in. And I'm still going through it. So my oldest...
I get laughed at nightly.
Yeah, my oldest is fine now because when he started winning games, just because, again, he would get lucky or I would let him win, whatever. You know, I would never lose myself.
Of course not. Never. Not these dads.
Yeah. He would get cocky. He would get in my face saying, you know, I won. Like, and he's really happy and you don't want to take the joy away from him. But, like, you just explain, like, how would you like your friends to say that in front of you? Or how would you like me to say that in front of you? And they kind of get it. Eventually, a few more conversations like that helped him along. My youngest, who's 7, is still going through that phase. So it's just a matter of like who they are and how well they grasp that situation, because he is ready to like just throw it in his brother's face, throw it in my face. He doesn't care, right? Because he's the youngest and he barely ever wins at anything because he's just younger. So if he gets lucky, he wants to celebrate, and I get that. But you know, it's again good sportsmanship. You know, a good winner. You don't want to be a sore loser either. So, and that's how we game more. And if you kind of cut off the game time when things kind of get crazy, that's when they kind of learn, like, hey, I can game more often if I just follow these rules. Like, simple as that.
That's a great tactic. So it's if you're going to act that way, if you can't be gracious in victory, you know, we're not going to play as often, so you're going to have to lose some time, which is, that is kid kryptonite, I'm finding.
That's great, yeah.
Removing game time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I just want, it feels like it's a very important part of gaming with kids at this stage, like that teaching, which even better is just for their own gaming life, let's call it. Like, look, if you're going to be in this space and playing with other people, you got to learn not to be a jerk about it. You know, you got to want I mean, or be the best jerk so that you could have a esport career. But like,
that's right,
like a good Twitch channel. Yeah. But generally speaking, but then to have that translate into real life, as far as, you know, if you win, there's a certain decorum that you need to follow so that you're seen in the right light, so that everybody can kind of participate in your victory. Otherwise, people will dislike you for it. So,
and that will absolutely transfer into, again, my oldest is playing online more, so we've allowed him to go online. And if he's not graceful online and we hear about it, then he comes off, and he doesn't want to hear other people being the same way, right? He'll start to recognize that, and if he's jumping around screaming into the mic, those people don't play with him the next time in the lobby, right? So he understands pretty quickly how this stuff doesn't fly in real life. No one wants to be like that, so it'll happen. It's just game time is usually like the kryptonite, like you said. Take that away, they're like, I'll do whatever you want. You want me to like potty train? I'll potty train. Do whatever you want.
Man, dude, like I just like, as a side top, I kind of hate how much I lean on it, but my oldest is definitely just super into games. Like he adores them. Like it really becomes his day. Like he's really looking forward to if he's done the chores, if he's done good in school, or done well in school. Done good in school.
Done good in school. You know what? We're judging him right now, not you. It's all good. It's okay.
So if he's done well in school, if he's, you know, been a good member of the family, then it's like, you know, all right, let's have some game time. We'll have like 30 minutes, whatever, of games. And that really becomes his center. And it's, I hate in some ways how much of a lever it is for us, but it's just the most effective thing is that if he's acting up or he's not paying attention in school, it's, if you don't start listening to the teacher, you're going to lose your game time tonight. If you don't clean that up, if you don't help with your brother, if you don't, you know, X, Y, Z. And it just works. It works so effectively. So effectively, I feel guilty about it. I don't know if you kind of get the same where it's like...
No, ride that out, man. Like we are today, my oldest has lost his screen time. So we are in that right now. That is his punishment because he didn't follow the schedule. He didn't look at, you know, what he's doing in school and he missed some things. And we had that agreement that if he didn't follow what he was supposed to do during the day, he would lose screen time. So we are in that right now. That's what happened. And he's trying to earn it back, right? And it's just, again, it's like holding Santa Claus over them. It's just like they'll do anything in the world. And I feel kind of guilty, but like you have very little currency and you have to kind of go with what their currency is. So if their currency is screen time, then that's what you attack. I think that's what how you kind of reach them the most effective.
Man, that's like, that is such a good way to put it. Like their currency. That's
what they value, right?
Because I'll say like what I'm scared with my youngest, who is turning out to be the wild man compared to his brother. Like, just like off the wall nuts sometimes, right? He doesn't care, and I'm so worried. So it'll be something like he'll do a little bit of screen time too. Like so we'll have a very few YouTube things that we let him watch, or Netflix or something, right? Like a kid show. Yep. Paw Patrol, whatever you want. Insert okay show there. And it's like, well, if you don't eat your supper, then you lose that. He's like, okay. It's like, oh no.
No. Is it a second thing? Because like mine is the same. He just shrugs it off. He's like, whatever.
That's the worst. That you just sit there like adult, holding like your hands, like, well,
yeah.
Like,
Let me know if you figure that out, man. Like I'm in the same boat. That's the same thing.
It's not the 50s. I can't hit you. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Give him a can and a can opener.
Oh yeah. Well, you're opening your own supper from now on. I'm the BeanDad.
That's right.
Actually, I don't mean to bring it back, but I'd seen that we had pulled up re-speaking of BeanDad. Sorry, just because we had brought up there's apparently a secondary Twitter thing going around it where it's like the BeanDad test.
Oh my God.
The beach still test, they were calling it, where it's like, so it's people texting their fathers and asking what they would do. If I was 8 and I didn't know how to open a can with a can opener, how would you suggest I learn? Take a can, an opener, start the opening, how would you suggest I learn? Like, how would you go about it? The father replies, take a can, an opener, start the opening, let you finish. Give you another can, let you start yourself. Help if necessary. So basically it's people saying, ask your dad how they would have treated you to solve the bean conundrum, to see what your relationship is like.
And then report back and tag it. That'll be hilarious to kind of see.
Yeah, I'm sure some of those result in some pretty sweet sweet interactions.
Yeah.
But speaking of sweet interactions with really great games, so you had mentioned that you had what kind of comes down as a LAN party with Stardew Valley in the house. Like that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And it's kind of it's like next level, because I play with my kids multiplayer on the same screen, but to do it on our own computers was a totally different experience. It was kind of like one of those milestones that I remember back when I started my first LAN party, which was much older because, technology back in my day.
Yeah. So I just want to give a quick out to we're watching a video of somebody playing multiplayer, and this is Stumped, YouTube channel Stumped. Yep. So if you want to go check those guys out. Yeah. So sorry, continue on there.
No, but it was over the holiday break. The kids are off school for 2 weeks. I said, why don't we play a chill game? And Stardew Valley was on sale, which is regularly like $15. It was on for 10. Bought 2 extra copies and play with my kids and just have a blast on the farm that we all own together. We all have to do, it's like the day. Really, yeah, everybody has their own chores. Somebody doesn't do their chore. It doesn't work out. But what's kind of cute, and like, because I won't really go too much into it, but what's kind of cute is my youngest said, just out of the blue, he designated Wednesdays in game, so every Wednesday in the game would be family supper night. So everybody has their own little cabin on the farm. He's like, no, we have family supper night at Dad's place. He'll bring the meals. So he'll go to, like, there's a little saloon in town. He'll buy, like, all the pizzas for us, and he'll lay them out on the table, and we all have to come and sit down and eat.
Oh, my God.
That's unbelievable. That's amazing. That was kind of cool, yeah. So, and then he, like, the next day he doesn't do his chores, and he goes off and does whatever. But, like...
and he gets a skateboard somehow in game, and he's just like...
Yeah,
he's a rad dude downtown.
He just does family supper night. But yeah, no, that was kind of cute to experience. So
God, this game, I have not played this game. Don't really intend to, honestly, because it's just with the current work, backlog, kids, life thing. Like I don't have time for this type of like long, slow sim.
Yep.
But it seems about the most wholesome
It is.
pleasant little experience outside of Animal Crossing you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's super chill. The soundtrack is one of the best I have ever heard. It is so. It just brings back nostalgia for me. It's amazing. I love it. So it is a very chill game if anyone's looking for multiplayer or just for yourself. Stardew Valley for sure. So
Yeah, everybody could use a bit of relaxation. Man, I cannot believe like dinner time. That is stunned. Like the kid introduced family activity together. Like that is just like, that's so sweet. That's such a dad victory moment. Like you must be just like just like jumping up and down inside your head, like how awesome this is. Did you have a photo of that on our Instagram?
I believe so. Yeah, I think I took a screenshot. Also, I took another screenshot where there's a big dance that you have to kind of romance people in town, and if they like you enough, they'll dance with you at this big spring festival. And usually the first year, you don't like anybody enough, so no one dances with you. Mm-hmm. My kids asked each other to dance, so they got to dance, and I'm over in the corner watching them dance because they had like this sly, shady agreement. They're gonna dance together. So, whatever.
Oh, that's yeah. Original dad just left out in the cold.
Yeah.
Trying to think where the our Instagram is.
It might be on Twitter actually. So
I'll get back to that there.
Yeah, but it was a really kind of cool moment. Just again, it's just one of those little things that you have to kind of make note of and appreciate. And it was just
just take a moment, like that moment of like, oh, we are becoming a family, like we are.
Yeah. So it was kind of a neat. There he is. Yeah, little pizzas.
God, so we have like a very modest house with a CRT television. I do love that. The photo that we're looking at. We have a cowboy hat. We have a cool dude with green hair.
Yeah, that's
sunglasses.
My oldest. Yeah.
I think there's seems like purple hair and a skull shirt.
Yeah, that's my youngest. Yep. He's handing out the pizzas.
Pizzas for all. God.
Yep.
It's family game. It's family supper night. I'm gonna bring the meals.
Yep.
Just a riot. God, gaming dead. That's a gaming dead victory right there.
All right, that sounds good. We got 2 victories in a show, man. We got potty training and family dinner night.
Diapers fly out, and we got family dinner night. Yeah. Things are good. So let's end her off on a high note there. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. Do you have your own stories of potty training, of awesome in-game experiences with your kids like that? Do you have a take on BeanDad and how you would approach such a thing? We'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at New Dad Gaming. You can also find us at our website, newdadgaming.com. Would adore to hear some stories. Please do reach out to us. If you would like to subscribe to the podcast, you can find us on all the major podcasting networks, so iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, we're on now, and all the major ones. Would really appreciate a subscription. A comment and a review would really help us out if you could take some time for that, and sharing it around to any other new dads who game. Until next week, my name is Trevor. There's not a single diaper in my household. Living the dad dream. And I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and I think pizza night is tonight. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check.
Every night's pizza night, buddy. Yeah. At least as long as it's not bean night, you'll be okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I will see you next week.
See you later.